Hello and welcome back to Capping Corner. Well, my swell stakes video had a scratch pick in it, so I thought I would talk about the Southwest Stakes at Oaklawn Park. It's also on Saturday. It's part of the Derby Trail. Let's talk about the rail horse, Maycock's Bay. Now, Maycock's Bay might be a confusing horse to some handicappers because he has that big race on January 7 at Fairgrounds, but his previous two races before that don't back up the 10-leg win on January 7. Now, what I think happened is that Maycock's Bay took a lot of dirt in those two bad races. And taking dirt and being on the inside or around horses probably discouraged him. In contrast, when he won that race by 10 lengths on January 7, he was sent to the lead, or he could have taken it by default because they were going too fast. But he was on the lead and he was in the clear, and that allowed him to get into a good rhythm. Now, let's watch the Bowman Mill Stakes on video to see if what I said is true. Did Maycock's Bay get discouraged from taking dirt in the face and being around horses? The good thing about Maycock's Bay is that he's not too hard to spot. His jockey is wearing all blue. You can see he's towards the back, he's in between horses, and he has to take up right here. So he was definitely in traffic. And he's still taking dirt at this point. He's at the back of the pack. And I don't think he's empty. I just think he's discouraged. Because some horses, especially inexperienced horses, don't know what to do when they're taking dirt and when they're getting bumped around horses. And that's why sometimes it's better to just be on the outside and in the clear, even though you're losing ground. The inexperienced horses get bothered by being around traffic and having to navigate their way through that. And you can see Maycock's Bay is all the way back there, around 6th. He's going to finish 6th. But it's my opinion that he still had run left. He just didn't want to run anymore because being in traffic bothered him, taking dirt bothered him, and he just didn't want to run. So let's take a look at that Fairgrounds race as well. On November 23, he was 6th by 12 lengths, and he did show some speed in that race. What happened? Let's take a look. He's in between horses, he's right behind a horse, he's right to the left of a horse, and the rail is right next to him. So if you're a horse that doesn't like to take dirt, then the pocket isn't the most fun place to be. And you can see Maycock's Bay starts to throw in the towel right here. He starts to fade away from the leaders. But again, I don't think he's empty. I just don't think he's empty. I just think he doesn't want to move through the inside. The jockey is asking him. He does not look tired to me. He just doesn't want to run. Because there's a horse right to... there's a horse right in front of him. And he's stuck down there because there's a horse right to his right side. And Snead just crushes the field here. Snead would go on to finish 2nd in the Gunrunner Stakes. So he was facing good horses in this race. Now, let's take a look at Maycock's Bay's big win on January 7, where he won an optional claim at Fairgrounds by 10 lengths. This time, Maycock's Bay is on the rail, just like in this race, the Southwest Stakes, but the difference is he goes to the lead. And because he's on the lead, he's in the clear. It's possible he went to the lead because no one wanted it. The fractions weren't too fast in this race. But it's possible that he went to the lead because he was ridden a little more aggressively out of the gate. I did see the jockey ask him just a little bit to get to the front. And you can see here, he's still moving really well on the far turn. What else can I say? He's moving really well. The jockey isn't even asking him. And that's a great sign. The jockey is still hand-riding him at this point, and he's putting away that horse. These are the same horses that Snead beat in that maiden race. And Hawks Creek and Blown Cover were 2nd and 3rd in that November 23 maiden race at Fairgrounds. But look, these are the same horses. Blown Cover, Hawks Creek. Blown Cover lost by 10 lengths to Maycock's Bay. On January 7, Hawks Creek was 2 lengths behind Blown Cover. Snead beat those horses by 7.25 lengths, and he went on to finish 2nd in the Gunrunner. So the fact that Maycock's Bay could beat those horses by 10 lengths is a great sign. I just think he didn't get the right trip in that November 23 race. Now, what's going to change here? There are fast horses in the Southwest Stakes. including Winstock, Carboni, Otto the Conqueror. They all want to show speed. What's going to change? Well, I think that Michael Stidham by now knows how Maycox Bay wants to run. I think he's going to be asked out of the gate. I don't think they want to take the chance that he's going to be stuck in the pocket, but if he is stuck on the inside, maybe the jockey will direct him to the outside. I mean, as long as there's no horse next to him, he can always just get directed to the outside of the pace setter, whoever the pace setter is, whether it's Woodstock or Otto the Conqueror or Kurt Brody or another horse. If there's enough room to the outside of him, maybe he can work out a trip. I just think Stidham knows what makes him tick by now. It's been 5 starts, and I just think there's going to be an effort to get him to the front, get him in a clear, and from there he can get into a good rhythm. He can outlast the other speed horses, and I'm just going to pick him on top because he's a talented horse, and I just think he's going to outlast the other speed horses. Now, for the second spot in the exacta, I'll probably use a couple of long shots. Magic Rat is the first horse I want to talk about. He was only third in the Springboard Mile, but he was closing at the end. And I know he had a big speed duel in front of him, but he cost 300K. I think he was meant to be a good horse. He just needs time to develop, and maybe now that he's making his fourth start, he can really show what he's made of. Also, Liberal Arts, probably the most trustworthy closer in the race. He can also be a stalker, but he won the Street Set Stakes by 2 3/4 lengths. And on September 26th, not 26th, on September 16th, he was also third in the Iroquois. And if you watch that race, he also had trouble in the stretch because another horse backed into him, and he had to go inside of that horse, so he could have been closer than 2 lengths. And he also broke his maiden at Ellis Park, and that's an interesting running line because he was only 1.5 lengths off the leader at the first call. So he was in a stalking position in that race, and he still won the race over Otto the Conqueror, who will be lower odds than him in this race. Liberal Arts is probably the most trustworthy closer or stalker in the race. And the last horse I want to talk about is Combat Defense, who won a local maiden race by 3.5 lengths on January 13. And he's not that fast. His speed figures here are not that fast, 80-78 on Brees. Even just looking at his times, they're not that fast. 139 and 2, 146 and 3 for the career debut. But I think he could improve, and I think if he has a fast pace ahead of him, that he will probably move forward. He will need to move forward more than just a bit to get second, but I think he could. Those are my 3 horses to use underneath. Maycox Bay over Liberal Arts will be the main play, and then Maycox Bay over Magic Rat and Combat Defense will be also played for a lesser amount. That's my exacta wheel for the Southwest Stakes in Oaklawn. Thanks for listening, and good luck with your bets.